Hello, good evening, everybody. Thank you, Agriculture Information, for inviting me on this topic of fair prices instead MSP, which we practiced as an idea with our farmers group in Himachal and Uttarakhand, who are growing apples, and the model is known farmers as owners, where the farmers collectives own the whole value addition chain till supply to the market of apples and other processed produce like apple juice, ciders, etc. In our previous discussion with agriculture information and other uh, platforms on MSP, minimum support prices, for which the farmers of Punjab and other northern Indian states are demanding, uh, particularly for wheat, rice, and sugarcane. Speed of these minimum support prices from government, which are, in our eyes, is a dependency on the public treasury for for long, and where the market dynamics is not taken into consideration by the farmers, by the traders, and by the consumers uh, 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 for benefit of all stakeholders as a win-win situation. In southern states, these MSP things are not that much prominent, but most of the agriculture produce are based on fair market prices, especially in the case of coffee and spices. Also, coconut, the market forces are more or mostly is there for determining the prices, where the farmers, the traders, businesses, and distributor all can get prices dependent on the demand and supply forces of the market, and farmers also understand these price mechanism. In that case, if the demand and supply demand and supply principle of economics follows, the production, distribution, and investment in agriculture could help to make a balance and not allowing either the farmers or the traders for monocropping system, which is mostly seen in the areas where the commercialization of sugarcane, cotton, wheat, rices, sugarcane, tobacco, and cottons are there. And later, after or during Green Revolution, for providing food security to the consumer, to the citizens, the wheat and rice came under the MSP or MSP circle. When this was started to provide food security and to make the buffer stock of foods for providing enough food to the citizens of the nation, and making FCI as an nodal agency for that to store the buffer stocks for ensuring food security. It was very good practice to offer minimum support prices and encourage the farmers to produce staple foods, rice, wheat, and rice and wheat mainly. But when it comes later, after ensured food security and overstock of wheat and rice with FCI and with farmers, then the whole production system and whole procurement system is not determined by the demand and supply, but it was then forced by the overproduction, over utilization of groundwater, over uh, expectation of growers, and later it's become more demanding situation, demand driven things. The MSP most become the demand driven rather fair demand, demand driven in the sense of demand, political demand driven, rather the economic demand and supply balances, which is, in our opinion, was not a good practice for the farmers, for the ruling regime, and even for the consumers, because then the most of area under agriculture become a monocropping pattern. And at one hand, we means we the Indian nationals have more or over stock of wheat and rice, and we are lacking behind in production of oilseed and pulses, which is again resulted as a dependency on for importing the pulses and oilseed, and which is again the burden on public treasury. So at one hand, we are overproducing wheat and rice on our very fertile land, where we of oilseed and pulses and other crops also can fulfill. And at other hand, we are spending our hard and foreign currency on importing the pulses and oilseed and oil. So when we started this model of farmers as owners, we thought that this is the responsibility of farmers as producers. This is the responsibility of traders and businesses as distribution and storage and value addition professionals, and also the responsibility of investor, either the traditional financing system or any other investor, to make a good or optimum balance of producing what is required for making the agriculture profitable at one hand, and ensuring the food security. Food security in the sense of all kind of foods, whether it's wheat, rice, whether pulses, spices, oil, or whatever, dairy product, whatever is there. But this whole idea need a holistic approach to build the partnership. In my earlier talk with at this platform through Agriculture Information System, I also talked about family farming. I talked about the tomato value chain, value addition chain. I talked about the responsible investment in agriculture. And all the partnership of responsible financer, responsible investor, the family farms unit. We have very small family farms unit in India, and we need to collectivize them as a one big collective of production area to plan and act upon what to grow, how and when to fulfill the market demand with taking care of fair prices to the farmers. Fair prices means their cost plus uh, uh, their cost plus some profit over that, including the rent of their land, which never taken into consideration. If a farmers grow fruits and vegetable on the same piece of land for some time, or he can earn more than growing wheat or rice, and maybe sometimes if the flowers or other cash crop grown on the same piece of land in comparatively less time, they can earn more. And this was in the beginning also happened with in the with sugarcane, when the contract farming by uh, sugar mills was considered to offer a minimum prices, a guaranteed prices, not minimum support prices, or guaranteed prices to the growers, and then everyone in sugarcane growing area shifted their entire land to sugarcane for years, and at certain times the mills become the mills become sick due to overproduction and a lower demand in the market of sugar. And but they can't say no to their producer, because they are then they the farmers then only can grow sugarcane from where the return from same piece of land is higher than the other crops. And now the overproduction of sugar is offered by somehow producing ethanol and other things. But again, if there is a problem, we are looking for a solution to overcome that problem in other way, but not looking the whole system of production, storage, value addition, consumption, demand and supply as a holistic approach of fair pricing to the farmers and to the consumers as well. Because these fair price principle also considered the import export of the same commodity from other countries and worldwide. In the case of apples, for which we started this partnership, I observed since 2005 that we the Indian our country is the major importer of apples, and also we have enough production to cater our demand. But we don't have adequate system for storage, long-term storage, and cold chain for transporting those apples in the cities where we have demand. And that's why the coastal area and South India is dependent on imported apple more, instead consuming the Indian apples. The lack of supply chain and storage facilities. This is happening. Uh, the prices also sometime in the case of apple in northern India during harvest season, our farmers and the farmers groups demanding higher prices for their produce, and therefore no one is interested to invest in the long-term storage facilities and refrigerated transport facilities, because these value addition facility also need a lot of investment, and the cost of operations associated with them. Uh, for what for these facilities, the foreigner producers and foreigner traders can easily offer lower prices to our southern part and coastal area, after shipping their apples either from Poland, Turkey, New Zealand, or Chile, or anywhere else. So, if we think that these costs are our shared responsibility of traders, shared responsibility of consumers, shared responsibility of farmers, then we can arise at a fair price system. That is our model of fair pricing, where all stakeholders consider the risks, benefits, cost, and earnings for each other by supporting each other's supply and demand situation in comparison with other competitors from other countries. Globally, we need to look on this. In the case of Apple, each time the farmers groups asking government to raise import duty on apple, which could help the farmers to get more prices for their apple. But at other hand, this also discourage the buying of apples by consumers at fair prices in comparison with the international prices. And then maybe there are two factors of this. One, we are allowing more import from other countries. So, despite of more duty, the production produced by the farmers of other countries is coming in our country, and we are losing that market. At other hand, the second, the consumer can shift to other fruits and other food staples than buying the apples. And in that case, the apple industry, the apple fruit can't grow at that speed, at that pace. So, if we think the business in the business sense, that everything and is decided by the demand and supply, and each one who is who is the player of the value chain from production to consumption, and who are the stakeholders of this, can get the fair prices, fair remuneration, fair rent, fair taxes for their contribution, then this fair pricing system can be adopted. And the most difficult partner to convince for this fair pricing is the producer, because they are big in numbers. They in democratic system, they also affect the formation of government, they are also not that much convinced to the demand and supply pricing system, because most of them are dependent on the support pricing system from the government, where the system of procurement also not driven by the professional capabilities, but by selective buying from the farmers who are closer to the state functionaries. So, and the fair pricing in our model, where farmers need to become owners of the value chain, because they are the owners of production, they are the owners of land, but they need to become the owners of the value chain, and they must be the partners or shareholders of the businesses who are adding value, who are supporting the distribution system, who are supporting the storage, who are in the agri value chain businesses. Then, if the farmers will become owners of it, and the daily operation and management of these businesses will remain in the hand of professionals, the professional business people, then they will think to benefit their supplier as farmer, and to their shareholders as their collectives. Then they may convince, these professionals can convince the farmers that if they are demanding more prices for their produce, at other hand, their company, because they are the co-shareholder of these businesses, their company may will uh, will fall in the losses, and in that way only the farmers could be uh, uh, mm, understand, they may understand the consequences of demanding more prices every time, and they also can plan the optimum production of their uh, agriculture produce as per the demand of the market. And these businesses can improve their storage and supply chain system to minimize the losses. If these two partners will get together with the solid and business-wise feasibility, the socially conscious investor can invest in that with the help of state sometime, with the help of government sometime, and why not? The government can also invest in these kind of partnership businesses, in these kind of companies, for arriving at the fair prices, then each time confronting with the minimum support prices. So we practice this model since 2007 till now. It is happening, and every time in each season, before the procurement from farmers, during the storage of the apples, before sending those apples to the consumers, to the buyers, and during the whole operation of emptying the store, these fair price buildup is discussed among the producer, business professionals, and investor to adjust the demand and supply consequences, to after considering the competitors in the business, and to give everyone Everyone's means the producer to the investor and to the professional. They are fair share, fair share in the business, in the profit. And also, it is necessary sometimes that they fairly can consider the risk and losses of this business, where the immediate risk can can be beared by the socially conscious investor, but farmers also need to know that in future, if sometime they need to compensate these losses or risk, they will be happy to they will be ready to bear that, and they will not shift their supplying to other companies for that particular year when prices are high. So this is our fair price build-up system, and I, if the I believe that if these partnership will work uh, together for building efficient value chain, it could be help the farmer collectives, businesses, and investors. Thank you very much. Hello.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for the detailed talk, sir. I will take up some questions now. So, first question is, what exactly is the farmers as grower as owners model, and how does it differ from the traditional MSP system?
The MSP system is offered by the government through APMCs or through the procurement mechanism like FCI, which is completely based on government system, which is funded by government, and this MSP also offered by the government. It is not a price where various market variables are taken into consideration. In farmers as owner system, nothing is coming from the government, but the farmers collectively through their collective, the businesses and the investors are taking decision for offering fair prices to the farmers and selling the produce operating value fairly to the consumers, to the buyers. So this is the difference between MSP and fair prices.
Okay. And how does this model redefine the relationship between farmers and pricing, emphasizing fair prices over MSP?
Yes, as I explained in my talk that MSP are generally for the for promoting the monocropping system or promoting certain crops. When it's offered for sugarcane, it it promote the monocropping of sugarcane. And when it was offered for the wheat and rice, it was to ensure the food security of the nation after the great food shortage of 1965-66. So it was offered. The MSP always helps and is very good for crisis management, but it is not for the regular practices. The fair prices are considering everything, the global market, the national market, our competition, the demand in the market, the changing behavior of the consumer, and the price system, the value addition system. Look, as an example, if we look on the organic produce now, doing some ethical practices during production, agriculture production, and certifying them could earn more benefit, could be sold at higher prices, but it needs some practices. It's not offering by the consumer. So taking the demand, supply, and value addition in consideration, with behavioral change of consumer is, is the main principle of arising at fair prices. Where at MSP, the the offer is coming from government and demand is coming from farmers, where least concern paid for the demand market, the competitors, and the value addition in the commodity.
Okay. And what are the key principles underlying the farmers as owners model's approach to pricing?
Yes, that is one. I already said. One is the prevailing market prices of the day. So either it's at auction point at APMC is one parameter. Second, what is judiciously of could be offered for the farmers after considering their cost and benefits into the mind, because the agriculture is a very complex scenario. It's not like the same piece of land can produce same amount of same amount of any crop for 1 year and another year. There are many external regions for that: the weather, disease, pest, seeds, so many things are there. But what is judicious? What is invested and what is expected by the farmers is second. So prevailing market prices, the expectation of farmers based on a reasonable cost system, and the competitive prices. That's the third. This is very important one. If we can import, we can buy cheaper agriculture produced from other countries or other area, that is be better option. That could be better option for consumer to shift their buying from that source, rather going to the existing source. So these three things are main contributor to the fair price building system in the farmers and owners.
Okay. And can you provide examples of how this model has empowered farmers to negotiate fair prices for their produce?
In the beginning, it's not easy to negotiate, but when the central unit, the businesses of value addition offer the prices to the farmers, they consider how many farmers need to invest on the selling of the produce in auction, in the regular auction point. So there are transportation costs, packing costs, so many other costs, their commissions, uh, interest, financial costs. So after deducting them, these businesses offer the prices at their farm gate. If farmers are not agreed to sell at that prices in the beginning, these businesses these suggested to the farmer that please sell your part of produce in the other market and give part to us. Then compare from where you are getting more benefit, more prices at the end. So it took some years, but now the farmers are convinced and they understand how to calculate these fair prices. apart from this, these farmers are getting their profit, their dividend from the company over added value. So that's also their additional income. That's why this is farmers are as owners. So they are equally the investor through their commodity and investor through their time in these businesses. And the businesses are getting a bit higher edge over their competitor by uh, by getting assurance of supply from the farmers to their company, the assurance of the quality supply from the farm. Yeah.
Okay. And what are some of the challenges faced by small and medium scale farmers in accessing fair prices, and how does this model address them?
Lot of challenges faced by the small and marginal farmers. Mainly, they don't have enough marketable quantity. They also can't access to the qualitative inputs and knowledge. So they need to form their collectives. Collectively, they can access to the technology, they can access to the information, they can access to the market collectively again, and they can access to the finances. So collectivizing the small farmers in one formal entity, either legalized or formal one, then they can overcome most of their problems. So the scheme like FPOs and promotion of cooperative can help to collectivize the farmers, but collectivizing is step one, is the basic need. Then these collectives also require to partner with the business. They need to tie to collaborate with the value addition businesses, for which they need professional support for adding value and selling their produce at relatively higher and better prices to the consumers by maintaining the quality.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And how does farmers as owners, sorry, how does farmers as owners model contribute to economic viability and sustainability of farming communities?
Uh, because when we are not claiming that we are contributing in that, but yes, it could contribute, because when a farmer or farmer collective with the business sense, with the business rigor, will reach to the consumers, because ultimately the consumers are the final uh, decision makers whether this will sustain or not. So if they will collaborate with the business, they will own the business collectively. These collective, these farmers can understand the demand of market, what the changing behavior of consumers. Then they can adopt, they can shift to those produce at once, and they can adopt the practices for which consumers are paying better prices, like environmentally sound produce, like organic produce, like their their quality standards, for which the modern consumers, the new consumer market is growing. They are more conscious for quality food production. They are also conscious for environmentally conscious food production. They are conscious for the socially conscious food production. And if these food supply chain could build on these values, the farmers can get more sustainable farming and food production system in the future.
Okay. And what role do technology and digital platforms play in facilitating fair pricing under this model?
A lot, because the technology, information and information technology with other modern technology can help farmers collectivizing at one platform. That is more important. Can assess the availability of land, availability of inputs, availability of seed, the quality parameters. They also can help farmers to build more socially, environmentally conscious food value addition chain. They can help businesses to source to get to the right producer, right group of producer for procuring high quality materials. They also can collectivize or link the environmentally, socially conscious consumers to these businesses and farmers. So these technology company and technologies and information platforms can build better partnership among the farmers, farmers collectives, socially conscious, environmentally conscious investor, and value addition business professionals. Yeah.
Okay.
They are the key in our
Okay.
mind. Yeah, yeah.
Are there any policy implications or changes required to support the widespread adoption of this pricing approach?
At policy level, at government level, the policies are there, but the professionals or these information and information technology companies need to adopt those policies of government with their concern to the farmers, concern to the small growers to collectivize them. Because FPO policy is one, in my opinion. But how many information technology platforms or companies or the social media or media groups are looking on those opportunities to collectivize the farmers to make a database of their production unit, their production unit as land, production unit as family, and production units as geography. So they these policies at private level in the private sector is necessary rather the government regime. They are already there through FPO, but these FPO need a lot of support from private parties, from the private businesses and private service providers.
Okay. How do consumers benefit from the farmers as owners model, and what role do they play in ensuring fair prices for farmers?
Yes, they can track the source of their food. They can get fresh and qualitative foods, certified one. They can directly link their they can link with their food producer, and they can help their food producer in that way for their certification at personal level and happiness as a group too, because everyone want to contribute something for the people who are growing their food. But how to do this? Few few persons know this. So again, these technology platform and the information system like yours can help urban consumers to connect with the farmers uh, for getting good qualitative food for themselves at once and helping their food producer at other.
Okay. And last question. What are the
Yes.
potential long-term impacts of shifting towards a farmer as owners model on agricultural economies and food systems?
Yes, there are a lot of opportunity. This is needed. Again, this is our model, and I can say yes, this is needed. But we tested this as a pilot. This is needed for consumers, for the producers, and for the farmers, and also for the government to arise at the fair prices, at the fairness of prices, the fairness of practices, the fairness of supply system, and also for a just uh, 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 benefit sharing system. Risk and benefit sharing system. So it would be justified that the farmers, the consumers, the businesses could get the justified share in their for their contribution in the producing, distribution, and consuming the food. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, sir. So I don't see any more questions from our participants. So now we have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we'd like to thank you for the detailed talk and answering all the questions in depth as always. And we also like to thank all the participants for joining this meeting. The meeting will now be closed.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're most welcome, sir. Thank you.